Joining me now on the phone, former FBI Assistant Director Jim Kallstrom. Jim, welcome. Very glad to have you here. Do you consider gross negligence to be the same as extreme carelessness? We heard the former mayor of New York, Rudy Giuliani, say in his mind they are the same.
They are the same, and I guess if you look in the legal dictionaries, they in fact are the exact same. You know, this whole thing is just so disturbing, and you know, the FBI director is not a politician. He's in charge of a very proud agency that does investigations and protects the citizens and looks after their welfare and looks after the assets and the intellectual property and solves kidnapping cases and does all these wonderful things and should not be making political decisions. He lays out basically a prosecution memo and says this, and this. And then he comes up with a conclusion that's an absolute contrary to what he just said before. It's just mystifying.
So, Jim, as a former assistant director, do you think he was just trying to do the best that he could in that situation?
Boy, you know, I've said this before, and I don't mean to be contradicting myself. I know he's a very good guy, and you know he's a peace-loving guy. But the FBI director can't be a soft marshmallow. The FBI director has to stand up for the American people. The FBI director has to stand up for the citizens, for the children. You know, what are you going to tell your grandchildren about justice in the United States when someone that basically has been laughing at the investigation for the last year and lies about pretty much everything, as you just went through in your opening, and then to come to the conclusion that there's no criminality? I mean, if he didn't want to make that opinion, he should have just heaved it over to the Attorney General and let her make that decision. You know, it's mystifying to me why he was the one that made that decision, which I fully expected the Attorney General to make.
So that stuck out in your mind as irregular?
I think it's very irregular. I don't understand why. Okay. I don't know if it has something to do with the visit of, you know, former President Clinton to the Attorney General's airplane after he sat on the tarmac and waited it to taxi in. I mean, that was about as much as grandchildren and golf as you know, I'm 15 years old again. I mean, that's just a crazy
So you don't believe Loretta Lynch, the AG, who said, as you rightly point out, this was a social visit. You think that it was a form of intimidation?
Well, I don't know what it was, but it certainly wasn't, whatever, 39 minutes of here's a picture of my grandchildren and see how pretty they are. And, you know, I shot a 7 over par last week. I mean, that doesn't go on for 39 minutes. And you don't wait on the tarmac for someone's plane to come in and then, you know, that's not a chance passing in some terminal somewhere.
Well, I think what was very worrying to some people is just going back and remembering that former President Bill Clinton helped Loretta Lynch in her career. In 1999 was sort of her first federal position, but she was helped by the former president.
Oh, there's no question. I mean, presidents appoint U.S. attorneys. There's no question. But when it comes down to someone to be the President of the United States, look, this lady has lied about very, very sensitive things. This lady went to Andrews Air Force Base when the bodies from Benghazi came back, one of which was the son of a very close friend of mine, and told those grieving parents on the tarmac with the caskets covered with American flags in their view that don't worry, we will lock up this guy that made the videotape.
Yeah, we actually had one of the mothers who actually is still waiting for an official response either from the State Department or the White House. She was on this program and she said, exactly as you just described, that Hillary Clinton lied to her 5 feet from her son's casket, and she was actually told that she is not next of kin, which I think was shocking to me, shocking to all of our viewers. If your mother is not next of kin, we don't know what kind of world we're in.
And then Mrs. Clinton commented to the nation that the victims' families were lying.
Let me ask you this, Jim, because you worked in a leadership position You are still in touch with several FBI agents. Are you talking to your former colleagues about this? About this case?
Yes. It's not a scientific survey, Deidre, but I have gotten numerous calls, numerous text messages, numerous emails, 15, 20 in the last day and a half about people both retired and inside the FBI that are basically bewildered of how this could happen, how these decisions could be made, and everyone had an awful lot of faith in Jim Comey that he would do the right thing, and if he couldn't do the right thing, in my view, this is my personal opinion, he should have resigned.
He should have resigned, or as you say, given the case up.
Or just laid the facts out and said the Attorney General will decide whether she's prosecuted or not, and put that mantle on her. Don't put that on the FBI. Don't put that on the investigators. That's not right.
After decades of service, this is the worst kind of infraction that you've seen. Is that a fair statement?
Well, I'm sure there's others, but this is right up there.
All right.
I mean, this is right up there, and it doesn't make any sense. It's almost like someone's holding something over this guy. I mean, it doesn't add up, Deidre, and I don't understand it.
Well, we're not going to leave it alone. In the meantime, we thank you, Jim Kallstrom, very much for your time and for your candor. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much.